I'll go to Mr. Balderson, I believe, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you both for being here today. My first question is for Dr. Ortiz. Dr. Ortiz, I'd like to follow up on a point that Chairman Johnson raised earlier. In the EPA's proposed rule, New Source Performance Standards for Greenhouse Gas Emissions, the EPA states that it elevated the reliability implications of the proposal and consulted with the Department of Energy and FERC in the development of these proposals. As we've discussed, Chairman Danley stated, I was not asked what I thought of the proposed rule's effect on electric reliability, and I am not aware of my fellow commissioners having had their feedback solicited. Commissioner Danley also points out that the opinion of the commission staff does not and cannot constitute the opinion of the commission. Dr. Ortiz, in a yes or no answer, do you believe the EPA properly engaged with FERC on this proposed rule, specifically on its potential reliability implications?
The EPA executed its responsibilities under through the Office of Management and Budget to seek FERC input on the rule. FERC provided comments on the rule that the EPA largely implemented.
To the best of your knowledge, how many times has the EPA officially consulted with FERC on the effects of their regulations on the grid reliability? And does this include requesting feedback from the actual commissioners?
By official, Congressman, what exactly do you mean?
By official, I would speak of somebody from the hierarchy of the EPA. So, and if I need to go to another route as far as who would know, I can further that later.
So speaking on behalf of myself, I interact periodically with staff members at the EPA. With respect to any interactions among EPA hierarchy, I'd probably request that you ask the commissioners themselves.
Thank you. I think this underscores the need for greater coordination between FERC and federal agencies to ensure long-term reliability of our electric grid and the bulk power system. So I appreciate Chairman Duncan and his work on the GRID Act. My next question is for the Assistant Secretary. Thank you, sir, for being here today. And Mr. Chairman Griffith brought this point up just a little bit also in his last question. As you know, Cleveland Cliffs is the only domestic producer of grain-oriented electric steel, or GOES, and non-oriented electric steel, or NOES. This steel is produced in Butler, Pennsylvania, and in my hometown and in my district of Zanesville, Ohio. If your department's rule on efficiency standards for distribution transformers were to go into effect, Cleveland Cliffs will be forced to stop investing in NOES and GOES production and wind down those two facilities until the rule is implemented. This means there will be no domestic producer of electric steel for electric vehicles, no domestic producer for power transformers, and a distribution transformer market reliant on one producer that imports from Asia and is nowhere close to having the capacity to meet the demand. Did the Department of Energy consider any of these downstream impacts on this rule will have?
The answer to that is yes, under what is technologically feasible, that the supply of materials there. Might I point out, I visited Butler, Pennsylvania, and sat down, not just toured the plant, but actually sat down and had a face-to-face conversation with the leadership there. Really excellent gentlemen all.
I would vouch for that. Yes, he is.
One of the things I did, face-to-face, eye-to-eye, ask is about their commitment to continuing to produce GOES for the American manufacturing industry. They are committed to doing that, and we are committed to helping them in any way we can to continue to produce that. Because even if this transformer rule goes into effect as it was originally proposed, which we all know there's been a robust process around it that may either change or amend what's out there, or even come to the conclusion that there should be a disposition that it shouldn't be changed at this point. But even if it were to go into effect as proposed, there will still be a market for good American GOES steel for large power transformers, which we're also very concerned about.
Do you know where those would come from? I mean, are you telling me that Cleveland Cliffs has made that commitment to you, the leadership team, that they would continue even if this rule is implemented?
I would ask that you speak to them, but my takeaway from the conversation is that they are committed to doing everything they can to continue to be America's producer grain-oriented electric steel.
Okay. In addition, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll yield back my remaining time.